The Bible is not the Word of God. Now, like I said, the Bible is not the Word of God. If you have been convinced that it is, I hope you can unconvince yourself. I really do. Because the Bible is not the Word of God. The Bible is a history book, and it has the history of man in it. Everything that you need to know about God and man, I am sure, is in this history book. And some people have been convinced and heard that the Bible is the Word of God. It's not. It's the history book. If you have looked at a Bible, a concordance, like a Strong's concordance, there are two words or two numbers that relate to a word that is translated word. Those numbers are 3056 and 4487. Both of those are numbers for you to look at when you want to look up something. And the words, it's either word or words. It will either be in the New Testament 3056 or 4487. 4487 is the one where Jesus is talking to the devil, and he tells him, man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceeds or comes from God. That's what a man can live by. Anyone that God speaks to and tells him something, that man can live by that word. And if you have a Bible, it's got many words in it. It's got different people speaking in it. It's got a lot of names of men in it, beginning with Adam and so forth, for generations. And every man is more or less his own generation. I am living in my own generation. That doesn't mean anything other than from the date of my birth until as long as I'm living, this is my generation. And I am living, and I am making a video today to let you know that the Bible is not the Word of God. And if you have believed the lie, then I am sure that the next thing that you believe by the liar is that Jesus is the Word. Yeah, that's the way it goes. That's what comes next. First, you've got to believe that the Bible is the Word of God. And the next thing you know, you find out that the next thing they're going to teach you is that Jesus is the Word of God. And as it, shows up, the next thing they will convince you that the Word was God. Yeah, that's just how the devil works. he will take something and convince you with it. And once he has you hooked, snared, or taken captive. If Satan can take you captive, you will do his will. That's how it works. Now, I have in front of me a few places where you find the word in the book, the history book, that's not the Word of God, but it is the history book, and it is a reference book, and you can refer to the history book and find what God said in it. But just because that is said, please understand that the devil will convince you with words. The devil convinced Eve to eat from a tree by speaking to her. And those words will do something. That's why words are words. But in Hebrews chapter 1, and I do have a history book right here. But before I go to Hebrews chapter 1, I want to read a little bit from Luke chapter 8. In Luke chapter 8, Jesus, who, if you listen to the devil, is the Word and so forth. But Jesus of Nazareth is the son of Mary. And nowhere should anybody be calling Jesus Word. The angel gave the name Jesus for the child, and nobody should call him Word. But anyway, Jesus is speaking to the people, and he had healed many. And Mary Magdalene was one that he had healed, and he had cast out some evil spirits from her. In other words, she had demons. And Jesus cast the demons out. And Jesus is speaking, and a great multitude came together, and they were from various cities, and they were journeying with him. And he spoke a parable. Now, it's not a difficult parable. A parable should be simple enough that you might be able to understand it. But he said the sower went out to sow seed, and as he sowed, some fell beside the road, and it was trampled underfoot, and the birds of the air ate it up. Other fell on rocky soil, and as soon as it grew up, it withered away because it had no moisture. And other seed fell along the thorns, and it grew up, and the thorns choked it out. And other seed fell on the good soil, and grew up and produced a crop 100 times great. And now he said these things. As he had said these things, he would call out, "He who has ears to hear, let him hear." So I want to let you know that if you have ears to hear what I hear, understand. And I will continue this in the next video because my 10 minutes is about up. So I will stop here and continue there.